Shalom everyone, and thank you for joining me in the study of Parashat Haazinu. We will discuss today the responsibility for the next generation. Moshe Rabbeinu in Parashat Haazinu is really close to his final days on earth, and he's trying to convey some very important lessons to the next generation. To the generation that mostly was not born in Egypt, but rather was born in the desert. And he is the one who is about to enter the land of Israel and to carry on this legacy and the promise that Hashem gave to the forefathers. So let's try to look, to dig, to explore, to find out what are the lessons that Moshe is trying to impart to the Jewish people, to the next generation, and what can we learn about our responsibility to the next generation. So Moshe, in a way, is painting in a very dark colors what will happen in the future. Vayishman Yeshurun Vayivat. Am Yisrael, the Jewish people, will grow fat. Shamanta, Avita, Kasita, which is obviously a metaphor for this idea of becoming apathetic to Torah, to mitzvot, to morality. Vayitosh Eloah Hasau, Vayenabel Tzur Yeshuato. The Jewish people will abandon God and will basically dismiss God's values. Yakniu bezarim betoevot yachisu. They will become idol worshippers, and they will make Hashem upset. And Hashem will do what we know from Tanakh. He will destroy the Beit HaMikdash. We are talking about the first Beit HaMikdash, the first temple, and he will expel the Jewish people to Babylon. So when you think about this pasuk, it's obviously it does not bring any optimism. It brings some kind of pessimism. And even to some extent, some kind of a question, this is the lesson that you would like to give to the next generation? What is the meaning of what Moshe is trying to tell them? Later on, Moshe says, Vayomer alehem, simu levavchem lechol advarim asher anochi me'id bachem hayom. He says to them, I would like you. Yes, it's true. I warned you. You're going to grow fat and you're going to abandon God, but there is a way that you might not do it. And there is a precondition, which is simu levavchem. We will translate it as pay attention, but it's even more than just pay attention. Simu levavchem literally means put your heart to it. Take it to your heart. Lechol advarim asher anochi me'id bachem. To all the things that I testify in front of you. Asher tetzavum et bnechem, that you shall command your children. לשמור, לעשות את כל דברי התורה הזאת. To keep, to safeguard, and to fulfill all the words of this Torah. So in a way, Moshe is telling them, keep the entire Torah, keep the entire mitzvot. So we know that the Torah and the mitzvot is also a guiding book for life of morality, life of justice, life of godly life. But what exactly do we need to do? I mean, this seems to be like pretty obvious. Moshe will give them the Torah, so they will need to keep it. What is this extra emphasis on lishmor, la'asot, et kol divrei HaTorah azot? To keep, to safeguard all these words of the Torah. If we go further in Tanakh to the book of Haggai, he says the following, ועתה כה אמר השם צבקות, שימו לבבכם על דרכיכם. Hashem, host of hosts, says, Simu levavchem. Again, very similar to what we saw before. Simu levavchem. Same coin. It's the same term, same terminology. Simu levavchem. Place your heart on that matter. Al darchechem. On the way you behave. Zra'atem arbe ve'ave me'at. Look at you, says Haggai to the Jewish people. You planted a lot, but you were able to harvest only just little harvest. That's it, which means the land was not productive. Achol ve'ein lesov'a. You ate, but you are not satisfied. Shato ve'ein leshochra. You drink, but you don't get drunk, even though you drink a lot of wine. Something is wrong. Lavosh ve'ein lechom. Lo. You try to put dresses on you, but you are not warm. You're always cold. והמיסתכר, מיסתכר אל צרור נקוב. And you do everything you can. You go and walk, you take double shifts, and then you work in 3 places, but still you don't have enough money to support yourself. Which means, Haggai says to the Jewish people, look at the natural, physical, material life, on the day-to-day life. Something does not add up. Something just does not work well. You eat, you are not satisfied. You put coats on you and you are still cold. So something is wrong. So what do you need to do? כה אמר השם צבקות, שימו לבבכם על דרכיכם. Meaning, pay attention to what you do. Ask yourself the correct questions, which, by the way, can be very painful. What do I need to do in order to improve myself? What do I don't do that in a way cause me all this misery? Now, it's not that you're going to know exactly the reason for A, B, and C. It's not going to be that you know the reason for every affliction or challenge that you have. But really what Haggai, the prophet, and Moshe in our Parsha is basically begging the Jewish people, do not walk in your life journey without being mindful, without paying attention to what's going on around you and what's going on to you. Which means Moshe and Haggai later on is telling the Jewish people, the advice that I'm giving you in order not to get to the place that Vayishman Yeshurun Vayiva, that you grow fat and then you are totally apathetic, is that from time to time, and especially when there are challenges, pause. This is the time to stop. This is the time for reevaluation, for simat lev, for paying attention, for reviewing my life, reevaluating my life, and see where I am, where am I, what do I want to do, how far I, in a way, went astray from the dreams, from the aspirations, from the goals that I placed for myself last year. This is an amazing suggestion that Moshe and Haggai, it's maybe even more than suggestion, it's almost like warning. If you're not going to reevaluate, if you're not going to pause and stop from your life and looking at what's going on with you, you will end up with Vayishman Yeshurun Vayivat. Haggai continues on in Perek Bet Pasuk Yudchet and says, Simu na levavchem. Now we have the word na, which means please. Meaning, in a way, Haggai is begging the Jewish people, stop. Just pause. Stop racing. And just say to yourself, oh, the fact that we don't earn enough is because, we don't work enough. Or because we eat and we are not satisfied because we need more food. No. Just stop and think. Simu na levavchem. Please pay attention. Min hayom hazeh v'mala. From today and on. Miyom 24 לתשיעי. ומן היום אשר יוסד היכל השם. שימו לבבכם. He says to them, please pay attention. From the time that you came here until the time that we founded the Beit HaMikdash, see what's happened to us. But if you don't look, and you just continue on day after day after day, you continue on with this race, trying to basically chase your own tail, you will get nowhere. So, in light of what Haggai says, and we will see Rashi in a minute, it seems to be that one of the most important lessons that Moshe is trying to convey to the Jewish people is the suggestion of pausing. You need to stop. We can relate to it very well, especially in the 21st century. In a way, we are fortunate. We have Shabbat, we have holidays that in a way force us to pause, to stop, to think. But Haggai and Moshe Rabbeinu is telling us not only on Shabbat and Yom Tov, but also during the week, maybe even every day. Take a moment to sim lev, pay attention to what you do, what's going on around you. It's not only about mindfulness. It's not only about awareness. It's about the deep understanding that what's happened to you is related to you, to Hashem, the way you behave, the way others behave around you, relates to the lessons that you take or you don't take from the things that are going around you. Is the idea that every day, in every circumstances, every condition, every experience has a lesson for me. Says Rashi, al darkechem, on the way you behave, al iskechem, שאתם רואים שאין במעשה ידיכם ברכה, כמו שהוא אומר, זרעתם הרבה והווה מעט, כל זה בשביל חורבן ביתי הוא. Rashi says that Haggai says to the Jewish people, you ask yourself, like, what happened here? Last year, my revenue was X, and now it's X minus 50%. He says it's because of the destruction of my temple. Meaning a spiritual event, like the destruction of the temple, affected also what? Physical and material elements of our lives. Which means what Rashi is saying us, this is in a way even a deeper layer, is that when you try to, even when you pause, and you start thinking about your life and about the experiences that you go through, you also need to take into consideration spiritual events. Because the spiritual world and the physical world are not detached from each other. There is a correlation and a link between the two worlds. And each one of them affect each other. So says Haggai, the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash was not just the destruction of the house of God. It was not just the destruction of one of the most central themes in Judaism. It also affects the way you live your life. The Malbim says, שתשימו לבבכם על דרכיכם, that you will pay attention, that you will place your heart on your ways, היינו על דרכי הנפש. Meaning on your neshama, on your soul. שתשתדלו לשוב בתשובה ולתקן דרכיכם. The idea of pausing, stop, to create some kind of a stop in your life, is for re-evaluation, it's for rethinking, but then, and that might be one of the hardest stages, is to do something about it. It's not only to map the issues, the problems, the challenges, and to say, yes, we need to work on it. It's not we, it's I need to work on it, and I need to do it now. So in a way, there are stages. First, which might be very much of a challenge for us, to stop, to pause, then to think, then to think even deeper, and to try to get lessons from everything around me and from what's going on to me. And then bring it back to your heart and start the process of tshuva. That's according to the Malbim. Midrash Tanaim adds another component, a deep component to what we said before. And it says the following. ויאמר עליהם, שימו לבבכם. Moshe says to the Jewish people, שימו לבבכם, place your heart to what I tell you. לכל הדברים, to all the things that I'm telling you. מכאן אמרו, from here our rabbis learned, צריך אדם, a person needs, לכוון ליבו, to concentrate his heart, ועיניו, his eyes, ואוזניו, and his ears, לשמוע דברי תורה, to listen to the words of Torah. ואם לאו, אין בידו כלום. And if someone does not do it, he gained nothing. שנאמר ביחזקאל, as it says in Ezekiel, בן אדם, שים ליבך וראה בעיניך ובאוזניך שמע. Like Ezekiel was told by God, you need to put your heart, you need to see in your eyes, and you need to listen in your ears. Now, let's pause here for just a second. Let's talk about these three elements: heart, eye, and ear. We start with the heart. The heart, in a way, creates this environment, this condition of being able to concentrate. When I say to someone, put your heart into it, it means put all your efforts, concentrate, commit yourself to this specific project, to this specific goal. Then I'm asking him to see, not just to look, but to look deeply into the matter, into the subject matter, into the project. And then also to listen. Sometimes when you concentrate, and sometimes when you have this tunnel vision, you don't see and you don't hear others. The way to learn Torah, the way to learn the lessons that are being conveyed in the Torah, you need to have three elements. You need to have concentration of the heart, intent, intensity. You need to have your eyes and your ears. You need to look around, and that's what we spoke about in Haggai. You can have a tunnel vision in terms of commitment, dedication, but in terms of being able to learn Torah and to be able to learn about life and to be able to learn about yourself and where you are, you need to have your eyes and ears open, willing to see and to listen to other things around you. And then the Midrash continues. ומה בית המקדש שנראה בעיניים ונמדד ביד צריך שיהיה ליבו ועיניו ואוזניו מכוונים. He says, now we're going to do like a קל וחומר, which means even more so. If in A it's like that, so even more so in B. So what is the A? The A is the Beit HaMikdash. Ezekiel was told by God before he told him the plan of how to build the Beit HaMikdash. He told him, concentrate, use your eyes, use your ears. Says the Midrash, the Beit HaMikdash was already planned. It was on paper. You had the measures, you knew exactly the length, the height, you knew all the measures. And even though that you know all the measures and they are written on a paper, Hashem told to Ezekiel, concentrate, use your eyes, use your ears. Even more so, when it comes to divrei Torah, שהם כהררים התלויים בסערה, על אחת כמה וכמה. So even more so when it comes to Torah, which sometimes it's very abstract, very sublime, very complicated, and it's not measurable or tangible, that you must use those three elements: heart, eyes, and ears. מכאן, so from here the rabbis learned, צריך אדם לכוון ליבו, עיניו ואוזניו לשמוע דברי תורה, ואם לאו אין בידו כלום. You know, we live in the 21st century, we live in a world of multitasking. And people are very proud that they can multitasking. Definitely, it's a wonderful ability. But the disadvantage is, unless you are an angel or a superhuman, you can make and you can fulfill many tasks at the same time, but probably not to the full extent. You cannot concentrate fully, listen carefully, and see in the way that you need to see all the tasks that you do at once. The advantage in concentrating on one thing, seeing and hearing other things in order to have the broadest picture and view on the subject matter or on the project, probably is much better than multitasking. What the Midrash is telling us is that when it comes to Torah, when it comes to lessons for life, when it comes to how am I going to shape my own future and the future of others, when it comes to my responsibility for the next generation and the lessons that I would like to basically give them to carry on the legacy that was given to me, I need to concentrate. I need to pause. I need to stop. I need to rethink. I need to rethink if I am a good carrier of this tradition and if I am worthy to transfer it to the next generation, and if I am, how am I going to do it? How am I going to relate to them? What are the lessons that I'm going to impart to them? This Midrash has tremendous insight. into our responsibility to the next generation that starts with us. That we need to, simu levavchem, to place our heart, our eyes and ears in cementing the Torah into our lives, and then to be able to what? To pass it to the next generation. One of the most beautiful things that Hashem said about Avraham and the fact that He chose him to be the founder of Am Yisrael is the following verse. כי ידעתיו למען אשר יצווה את בניו ואת ביתו אחריו, because I know him, that he will command his children and his entire household, ושמרו דרך השם, they will safeguard God's path, לעשות צדקה ומשפט, to do just and judgment, למען הביא השם על אברהם את אשר דיבר עליו. So therefore Hashem will be able to bring Abraham and to give Abraham everything that what? That he promised him. Hashem declares, I chose you, Abraham, because I know that you don't live only for yourself. That your view on life is a view and a mindset of responsibility. It's not just about me. It's about the way I live my life, not only for myself, but in a way I live it also for the next generation. The next generation does it for the next generation. How did Avraham receive that blessing or receive that level that Hashem testifies on him? I know, yeda'ativ, I know for sure he is going to convey that lesson. He is going to pass on the legacy and the tradition. Says the Rambam in Hilchot Avodah Zarah, in the laws of idol worshipping, says, כיוון שנגמל איתן זה, התחיל לשוטט בדעתו והוא קטן. Avraham, when he was a child, he started wandering around like, what's going on in this universe? והתחיל לחשוב ביום ובלילה, he started thinking day and night. והיה תמה, איך אפשר שיהיה הגלגל הזה נוהג תמיד ולא יהיה לו מנהיג, ומי יסבב אותו? כי אי אפשר שיסבב את עצמו. He started looking at astrology and physics, and he looks at the universe and he says, who is the CEO here? Who is the manager here? Who is running this world? He couldn't understand that. He couldn't believe that it's just like a star, the moon. He says there is an entity behind this project that's called the universe. ולא היה לו מלמד, ולא מודיע דבר, אלא משוקע באורקסדים בין עובדי כוכבים הטיפשים, ואביו ואימו וכל העם עובדי הכוכבים, והוא עובד עמהם וליבו משוטט ומבין. The Rambam describes Abraham's childhood. Basically, this is like a child who is wandering around and always asking the questions of how this thing works and why is it, and no one knows to give him any answer. He has no mentor, he has no teacher. His parents are not that sophisticated. The entire society is pretty much dumb based on what the Rambam says. Tipshim. But he himself, he's an idol worshipper. Who oved imahem. But he is looking, he is searching, he is pausing to think what no one else did. He was able to pause and to think. Ad shehisiג derech haemet, until he was able to accomplish the path of truth. והבין קו הצדק, and he understand the line of justice. ומתבונתו הנכונה, from his own wisdom. Remember, he had no mentor, no teacher. He was mocked by the people. But he believed that he needs to search. He put his heart, his eyes, and his ears. וידע שיש שם אלוקה אחד, and he understood that there is one God. והוא מנהיג הגלגל, and he is the one who created this universe, and he is the one to basically to manage this universe. והוא ברא הכל, ואין בכל הנמצא אלוקה חוץ ממנו. There's only one God. וידע שכל העולם טועים, and he knew that the entire world, all humanity, is wrong. שגרם להם לטעות זה שעובדים את הכוכבים ואת הצורות עד שעבד האמת מדעתם. Avraham, based on the Rambam, was this intellectual, curious child who saw what everyone else did And he said to himself, they are all wrong. They are just like go with the flow. But I'm not like that. I need to think. I need to pay attention to what's going on around me. And the conclusion that Avraham was able to derive from his own thinking, again, no mentor, no rabbi, no prophet, no nothing, his own wisdom and curiosity, there is one God. And yes, everyone else is wrong? Yes. I don't blame them, says Avraham. They all just go with the flow, but I'm not like that. That's what Hashem found in Avraham. Hashem found in Avraham this curiosity, this ability to think, not just to go with the flow because that's what other people do. Not just go with my life and just like go with my life and, as we say in Hebrew, ma she'iyeh, yeh, whatever will be, will be. No. You have wisdom, you have heart, you have your eyes, you have your ears, use them. Think about your life. You can make them better. Don't let others dictate your future and your life. You should be the sole person to able to shape and form your future and your children's future. And then the Rambam concludes, "Uven 40 shana הכיר אברהם את בורו." And when Avraham was 40 years old, he הכיר. The word הכיר is recognize, but it's also like from the word makar, like become a relative, which means Avraham did not only know God, he felt this, I would even say the word intimate relationship with Hashem. He felt close to Hashem. He felt that he's a present entity in his life. He's not just a sublime God that created the universe and left. It is someone that is in my life. And therefore he has expectations for me. I also have expectations from him. But he cares about me. He gave me gifts, cognitive abilities, the ability to see, to hear, and to shape my future. And therefore, I want to read this Midrash Tanaim that I think has a fascinating point that I think will help us in thinking about not only ourselves, obviously, but how we pass the tradition for the next generation. אשר תצווה את בניי אמור להם. Hashem says to Moshe, you need to command my children. What do you need to tell them? צריך אני להחזיק לכם טובה שתקיימו את התורה אחריי. אף אתם צריכים שתחזיקו טובה לבניכם, שיקיימו את התורה אחריכם. This is an incredible midrash. Hashem says to Moshe, tell the Jewish people, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful to you. That you will fulfill the Torah after me. And you should be grateful to your children that will fulfill the Torah after you, which means, Moshe says to the Jewish people, I, Moshe Rabbeinu, went to Mount Sinai, received the Torah, gave it to you. I'm one of the most famous people. I created my own legacy. But you know what? I depend on you. Because if you are not going to fulfill the Torah, you're going to ignore it, everything I did will be forgotten. So I owe you. I've had tremendous feelings of gratitude to you. And you should have the same feelings towards the next generation. In a way, what we created here in this Midrash, it's not only the link between the generations. It's not only about the responsibility that every generation has, it's the understanding that without the next generation, we are nothing. Because if our legacy do not continue on, and that it's not being added to and basically flourish, we will be forgotten. And it's not just only about being remembered. It's about our entire life legacy can be gone if the next generation will not follow. This Midrash is basically says, I owe you, the next generation, I owe you an act of gratitude. Because without you, I will be nothing. מעשה שבא רבינו מלטקיה, נכנס רב אלעזר ברבי שמעון ורבי יוחנן בן ברוקה וישבו לפניו. So Rabbi Yehuda הנשיא, Rabbi, came from his trip and his children came in. אמר להם קרובו לכאן, קרובו לכאן. לא זז מקרבן עד שקרבן לפני רגליו. So he brought them closer to him, אמר להם, צריכים אנו להחזיק לכם טובה, שקיימתם את התורה אחרינו. אף אתם צריכים להחזיק טובה לדורות הבאים אחריכם, שהם מקיימים את התורה אחריכם. או אינו אלא משה רבן של כל הנביאים, שילולי אחרים שקיימו את תורתו, מה הייתה תורתו שווה? It's repeating the same idea, but even stronger. Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, who was the composer of the Mishnah, says to his children, I thank you for continuing on learning Torah and studying Torah, continue on my legacy to the extent that Moshe, the head, the father of all prophets, if I, Rabbi, and the one before me and the one before me will not fulfill the Torah, מה הייתה תורתו שווה? The Torah that he brought from God will be meaningless if we don't keep it. The balance that Moshe Rabbeinu is conveying in his lesson is amazing in terms of the educational component and the meaning and the idea that Moshe is trying to convey to us. On one hand, there is obviously warning. You will grow fat and you will abandon God, but there is a way to stop it. Create this kesher, this link, this correlation between the generations. Tell them that it's not just, I'm expecting you, it's on you, it's on your shoulders, now you need to move on. No. It's not only about you or them, it's about us. Without them, I'm nothing. Without me, they will not know. There is an exchange that it's not only just a business exchange. This is a meaningful, spiritual, covenantal correlation between the generations. You tell the next generation, I need you. I need you to continue on my legacy. I rely on you. I trust you. Without you, I am nothing. And you need to bring them closer to you. Even if they deviated, bring them closer to you because you rely on them. And when they will get that message, it will change their lives. And they will be able to convey that lesson to their children. Rav Soloveitchik describes this beautiful idea in how you study Torah in a way that it's contagious, in the way it's so fiery, but not scary. כשהאדם מתעמק בתורת אלוקים, when a person immerses himself in God's Torah, וחושף את המאור ואת ההוד שבה, and he discovers, he uncovers the light and the glory that's in it, ונהנה הנאת יצירה וחידוש, and you enjoy the creativity that you can find in the Torah, הוא זוכה להתייחדות עם נותן התורה. He merits this unique seclusion with God himself. חזון הדבקות מתגשם על ידי ההזדווגות השכל עם הרעיון האלוקי שהתגלם בדפוסי דינים, הלכות, שמועות. It says, your ability of attachment to God is coming into fruition when the cognitive abilities and God's ideas are basically merged together to one entity. Through the laws, through the Talmud, through the narrative that we just do now, that we read today, פרשת השבוע. ברמה על הכרה ההלכית אינה נשארת סגורה בתחום השכל. פורצת היא לדרך אל התודעה הקיומית ומשתלבת בה. It's existential. It's not just that it's only in your cognitive abilities. When you learn Torah, it's all encompassing. It's your mind, it's your heart, it's your feelings. It's the ability to phrase new ideas. האידאה הופכת ניסיון מרתיח ומסעיר, הדעת, אש דת, משמעת הלכתית דייקנית וקפדנית, אהבת חשק בוערת באש קודש, ריבו רבבות אותיות שחורות, שלתוכן התכווצו תילי תילים של דינים, ביאורים, קושיות, בעיות, מושגים, מידות. He says, when you immerse in Torah learning, when you try to figure out something that is challenging, it's all encompassing, it's fiery, it's your brain, it's your heart. It's the idea. יורדות מן המוח הצונן והשאנן השוקט אל הפשטותיו הדקות ומערכותיו השיטתיות, אל הלב המלא רטט וחרג, ומתגלגלות בזיקי שלהבת חוויה אדירה הגורפת את האדם אל קונו. Studying Torah in a way that you immerse yourself in the Torah it's contagious. It's all-encompassing. And when the next generation see this experience, they will be connected. So what is our responsibility for the next generation? First, pause. Think about your life. Think about the way we live our lives, and are we a model for the next generation? B, learn with them, study with them. C, tell them how much you love them and how much you expect them to continue on the legacy, because without them, whatever you did in your life was almost meaningless. And then tell them to tell that to the next generation as well. You are the sole person to shape your own life and the life of the next generation. And we have a tremendous tool, gift from God, the Torah. And the idea of studying Torah and learning Torah. Learn it for yourself, learn it with your children. So then we will be able to make sure that not only we are the one to carry the legacy and the tradition, but we are able to transfer it to the next generation as well. Thank you.